26 states filed suit to get Obamacare repealed. One of them was Ohio. In fact, the governor of the state is protesting a massive Medicare mandate forced upon his state. And Governor John Kasich of Ohio joins us now. Good evening, Governor. Great to see you again, sir.
Good to see you, Larry.
Governor, let me just begin with the Supreme Court obviously hearing Obamacare. It is the biggest story in the country right now. On the Medicaid mandate, you signed that lawsuit. Will this thing bankrupt Ohio? How much is the cost a problem? And what do you make of this story right now?
Well, Larry, the problem is, we all know there's a health care crisis. We're trying to push quality outcome-based health care through medical homes also that can help coordinate care. The problem is we start getting a lot of things mandated on us, and we just pulled ourselves out of an $8 billion hole, and this puts us back in the hole again. And so I would hope that the court case would be successful. If it is not successful, then, I've already talked to the President's Chief of Staff about the fact that can we revisit parts of this. I have my folks working with the administration to figure out if there's some common ground between these dual eligibles on Medicaid and Medicare. We just have to see what happens here.
Just let me go. Another example of Washington overregulation and overreach, Governor. The EPA today, as I'm sure you know, issued new carbon regulations that many people believe will end the coal industry, could end the coal industry. Certainly new coal plants are going to be way too expensive. Existing plants are going to be under adjudication on this. What does that do? Ohio's a huge coal state. What does that mean?
Yeah, it is. Well, we're actually trying to spend some money now to do research into carbon capture, Larry. We think it's important. But look, we also are on the verge out here of, we hope, a shale gas, a boom in shale gas. And I was with the President 2 weeks ago and told him that Ohio was going to be an example of a state that was going to put in good environmental regulations and could be a model for the rest of the country. In fact, we've even talked to the administration about this because we would prefer for the federal government to allow us to do this. In terms of the EPA and their carbon restrictions, it has a devastating effect. We've already had a couple coal-fired plants that are being announced they're going to be taken offline, and it's really a challenge. And I think an overly aggressive EPA is not something that's helpful to long-term economic growth. I believe, by the way, that you can have good economic growth in a good environment, and I don't think they're mutually exclusive.
Well, the really good news is, okay, the Utica shale field, that's great. And you got BP signing a lease today, or announcing their intention to sign a lease, 84,000 acres. Now, that is fantastic. What can you do to foster that, and how's that going to turn around the state's economy?
Yeah. Well, Larry, we've been working on this for a long time. In fact, we just had an announcement of some midstream guys, fractionators and processors, about $1.4 billion in investment announced within the last 2 weeks. So we want to make sure we've got good environmental rules so the industry doesn't get themselves in trouble with groundwater contamination or anything. And we think we've got good rules that can be a model for the rest of the country, not fuzzy rules, but things that are clear, because we need to make sure we can have both environmental good things and at the same time job development. Out here we're also trying to modernize our severance tax, Larry. One company is estimating they're going to take $1 trillion out of the state of Ohio. And we are proposing that in the early years that these companies could recover their costs, and then we would have a 4% severance tax, which would be lower than virtually every other state in the country. And there's a debate about how it compares to Pennsylvania.
How does it compare?
We would take all that revenue.
How does it compare to Pennsylvania? That's a key point, John.
Well,
how does it compare?
In the first couple years, we allow cost recovery, so we would be lower. We would let these companies recover. But the biggest oil boom state in the country is North Dakota, and they're taxing oil and liquids at 7%. We would be at 4%. Now, let me tell you what the issue is, Larry. It's presumably if $1 trillion gets taken out of Ohio, a 4% severance tax could allow us to have $40 billion worth of income tax cuts. And I'm in favor in Ohio in lowering the income tax. It's 5.9%. It's too high. It's a challenge for us to continue to be competitive. And so rather than companies taking all of the benefits out of the state, we would like to make sure that Ohioans in every part of the state are able to benefit, particularly the small business, which is the engine of economic growth.
All right.
We don't want to build Ohio's recovery on one industry. We want diversity, and small business is the key to that.
All right, great stuff. Thank you, Governor John Kasich. Good luck on the shale. Good luck on the tax cuts. We appreciate you coming back on the show.
Thanks, Larry. Always good to be with you.